Welcome to the AVAIL podcast, where we dig deep and talk about the art of leadership. My name is Virgil Sierra, and today we're sitting down with Troy Korsgaden. Troy is the principal of Korsgaden International, which specializes in global marketing, distribution, agency building, and technology strategies for many of the world's largest insurance carriers and financial services companies. He's a highly sought-after insurance and financial services consultant and an accomplished author. In this episode, we'll discuss the new Korsgaden Insights magazine, the Korsgaden Insights community, and the many ways this community can benefit leaders in these industries and the marketplace at large. So, lean in, leaders, and let's get started. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the AVAIL podcast, where we dig deep, talk about this art called leadership. My name is Virgil Sierra, lead pastor of Vertical Church, aka Iglesia Vertical in South Florida. I'm your host for the AVAIL podcast, where we just connect with amazing leaders that are making an impact globally, nationally, all over the place. People who love God, love people, and love making a difference by leadership. And today we have none other than Troy Korsgaden. He's a repeat guest on the AVAIL podcast. Troy, it's good to have you back. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, and it's really good to be back. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I remember every time I speak to you, every time I interact with you, first of all, it encourages me. Second of all, it challenges me. And third of all, you make me think bigger. I think that's what you're going to do on this podcast. So before we talk about some of the new things that's happening in Korsgaden world and in the things that God has placed in your heart and the visions that's kind of going, I'd love for our AVAIL audience, who's maybe a little newer, maybe they didn't catch you last time you were on, to know a little bit about who is Troy Korsgaden.
Well, hey, again, thanks for having me on. I'm from Visalia, California. That's between Los Angeles and San Francisco. It's between Yosemite and the Morro Bay Rock on the coast. I mean, I'm dead center in the middle of California. We're about 15 minutes from sun-made raisins, and we're surrounded by agriculture. But I grew up in a little town. My mom raised us. My dad died when I was about 5, turned 6 right after that. I have 4 brothers and sisters, and we just had a great life here in this little town. And I started an insurance practice in 1983. I got into the business when I was 21 years old, and I just lucked out. God blessed me in a lot of different ways, and one of them was to be in the right place at the right time, and hopefully we get to talk about that. But I parlayed that insurance practice into an insurance consulting advisory practice that represents and works with most every large insurance carrier in the world, but mostly in the United States and North America.
I love it. I love it. I love stories, and we'll probably talk about it along the way. But I love stories with small beginnings, so to speak. In other words, there wasn't anything in the picture that showed, hey, something great's going to happen here, something that's going to impact the nation, And I love stories like that. And by the way, that leads us kind of to I guess the most recent news and updates regarding Korsgaden International. And you launched recently Korsgaden Insights magazine. I think this is a big deal. Come on, anybody who's watching, if you're watching, you're seeing it in his hand right now. Talk to us about Korsgaden Insights magazine.
So we launched the magazine in May. The brainchild, it started about a year ago. And I've got a lot going on, so it wasn't easy for me to wrap my head around how much work this was to put something like this together, and then assemble people that are leaders that could really speak to the insurance and financial services profession in a way that stood out and was unique. And I got to tell you, this surpassed every expectation that I had personally. We're getting ready for the October issue.
Wow.
And I just couldn't be more excited. It's put the fire back in my belly, and I'm super excited to talk about it with all your listeners.
Yeah. I'd love to talk about specifically the magazine. So, Korsgaden Insights magazine. obviously I'm with AVAIL, right? And we have the AVAIL journal. This is something that I have seen it bring so much value. Just off the top of my head, a couple questions that come to my mind. Korsgaden Insights magazine. How often, does a new edition publish? Does it come out? Also, who do you think is a sweet spot target audience? Who would benefit and would want to lean into the Korsgaden Insights magazine?
Well, look, there are other periodicals that come out in the insurance and financial services industry. But we wanted to be different. Didn't want it to be all about me. I've got folks that collaborate with me. Michelle Hubert that runs our practice management. Deb Grummins who does our training. And I could go on. We have a number of people that we work with. But the concept is it will come out every quarter. If needed, we'll come out with more issues during the year. But right now, once a quarter, to appeal to people that are just getting into the business, people that have been in the business, and people that need to retool their business because customer expectations are different today than they were when I started in 1983. They're different than they were 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And I got to tell you, the last 2 to 3 years, I mean, there's a tsunami of change coming on. And I have the good fortune of working with every major carrier, so I get to see what's behind the curtain. I get to see with the things they're dealing with, not always positive, right? Not always positive. And then the things that they're coming up with, like new technologies, and it's mind-blowing, man. It's like a friend of mine said, we're living in a Jetsons world, and a lot of what we deal with, as my friend says, it's kind of a Flintstones experience. And so we really want to not just talk about the old way and what was successful. It's really highlighting a lot of people that are in the magazine. As you see when you open it up, there's a lot of fresh and young ideas that are in this magazine.
Yeah, for me, it's always exciting when I kind of get something new in my hands, maybe something that I haven't seen before, or I know it's something new, kind of just going in there and digging. Did you ever envision this? I mean, because again, when you have a magazine in your hands, there's the visual aspect, there's the content, obviously, and obviously you have a target, of who's going to benefit from this. But I mean, how does it feel? I mean, you're holding right there, you're holding one in your hands. How does it feel to sense this is born from these decades of hard work and the fruit of our labor throughout the years?
Yeah, Four Rivers Media, who is our partner, I just really, until I held it in my hand, I've had the AVAIL magazine. It's world class, right? Yeah. When you hold it in your hand, you just go, man, this is almost like art, right? And the response from all the people in the insurance profession and others, because one of the things I want to say to your listeners, there's a lot of articles in here that really go across all business lines, right? So there's a lot of thought leaders in here that some of you would know that are listening, right? And leadership is leadership, right? The insurance world has the same challenges, they have the same concerns, they have the same things they're dealing with. So you'll find that in the magazine. And I just, as we get people that are collaborating with us, it's more than just an insurance magazine, if you will. I've got people that have never been in insurance that go, wow, I found really great value in the content. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love to see, I kind of love to see as brands and communities develop, as leaders begin to kind of break through new seasons. And I'm a pastor as well. I see when our organization kind of hits new seasons, new opportunities, it just opens the door. Can you talk to us a little bit about Korsgaden Insights community? Again, I think it's all part of this Korsgaden world, right? Of what you're bringing to add value to people, to help people in the industry and leaders as well. Talk to us about Korsgaden Insights community.
Yeah, so we are a learning organization. We believe in never stop learning. And so we have a lot of resources. So over my many years in the profession, I have a lot of data, I have a lot of workflows, I have a lot of language, we call it, that we share with people in the community. And there's different levels, but there's a basic level you have to have, table stakes. And so there's a library of information that people can access when they're a part of the community. They get webinars, they get vendor resources that they can get access to, because whether it's technology, higher learning, if you will, and just a plethora of different things. Literally, you got to pick and choose. The library is that huge. So for business owners and their teams that want a platform to work with, they have access to that 24/7. And then they also have study group people in the community that they're sharing with. And we all know you learn better from your peers when you're executing. Ideas are awesome, but without execution, they're delusion.
Now, I'm curious. When somebody is saying, "Hey, I wanna find out more about Korsgaden Insights community," you're talking about webinars. You're mentioning resources. You're mentioning, documents, vendor resources, all kinds of technology. Is this something that somebody is it somebody that you become a member of it? How does it work? Because I can already see people and that are leaning in and saying, I want to be a part of this, or how can I access some of these resources?
It's a monthly membership. With the membership, you get the magazine once a quarter. You also get access to the library. There's a portal. There's a never ending resource availability that is for free. And then access to others that have information that we vetted out, we partner with. We make that available also. But the majority, I'm going to say 80 to 90% of what a person gets as a community member is access to those monthly webinars, access to the library, the portal, workbook, things that are resources like videos that they can use with their teams. And then again, it's just that pathway to a higher learning opportunity. But I'm telling you, for the folks that really want to dive in with their teams, it's an endless resource.
I love it. I'm excited. I kind of want to get in there myself. I want to start looking in to see what I can learn, what I can share. It seems to me, Troy, like you have a passion. You have a passion for helping people. You have a passion for adding value to people. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Where does that passion come from that leads you to say, man, I want to start the Korsgaden Insights community. I want this to have a magazine. I want to put things out there for people to kind of connect to and learn and grow from. Where does that passion come from? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, I was raised by a mother who was very giving. She put God first, and then she devoted herself to her family and to her friends. And I think seeing that, really seeing is believing. And then later in my life, when I started to become a learner, I heard a saying, and it just stuck with me as a young man. Giving starts the receiving process. And so my entire world of insurance has been, I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm trying to provide a service that stands out. I'm giving you great advice because I'm knowledgeable. And then I earn the right to give you product solutions. Or in other words, I can sell you something, but not until I've first given you something. And that something I give each person is that service and that advice. And then I earn the right to offer products and services. So it's a different mindset than most of the world today. We're living in a commoditized world, but people are yearning for somebody to hold their hand through the maze of madness and not put money or commissions first. I like to just say, don't worry about the money. It will come. Just be great at what you do. So I have that passion as a practitioner. I have that practitioner when I'm working, and we are working with local agents, firms, and then when I'm working with national carriers that represent brands from around the world. It really is. That's really a serve first mentality is what Michelle would call it.
I love that. I think whenever I see people that are adding value to others, kind of open-handed, it really inspires me personally because I feel like that's the model that I want to follow. That's the examples I want to follow. And it seems to me like that's your heart, Troy. It seems to me like that's exactly what you're aiming to do. Some of us aren't necessarily kind of experts in the insurance and financial services industry, but for those who are, why would you say this is a must-have? You got to become a member of Korsgaden Insights community. For those who are in the insurance and financial services industry, or for those who know somebody, why should they really reach out and say, hey, you got to check this out?
It's very simple. 2 words: business acumen. This is a business now. The first round back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, maybe even a little bit in the 80s, was all sales driven. The companies hired salespeople. And then as the business matured and there were many products, not just one, not just auto insurance, there was auto and home, then there was auto, home, and life, and then there's auto, home, and business insurance. And so we call this multi-line. But if you're going to offer multiple products, you can't be an expert at everything. So you have to have a collaboration with a local group of what I call specialists, or what we call expertise partners. If you're going to do that, it's a business, and you have to have business acumen. That means, how do I hire people? Where do I find them? How do I recruit them? How do I put them on, right? How do I onboard them? We call it everboard them, because it's a constant learning cycle. And then how do you make people profit centers? Because payroll is payroll, but you want to spend money to make money. So if I have a huge payroll, I have an expectation that will bring me profits. So I'll just keep coming back to this. There's a lot to running a business plan. There's elements in selling, there's elements in service, customer experience. There is elements in succession and longevity. But if you think about it all rolled up, what today's consumer, what today's clients want, they want somebody with business acumen that can help them in every aspect of their life to protect the things that need to be protected, and then to grow, right? We're all put on this earth to be something more than when we were born, And so we assist people in being able to plan and execute their own goals and the things that they want. So again, just wrap it up by saying business acumen is really what this is all about. Business acumen.
Korsgaden Insights community, Korsgaden Insights magazine. I was thinking right now as you were talking, this community and the online resources that are available, not only through the magazine but through becoming a member, I would imagine that a lot of it is to really build up. A lot of it is to equip. A lot of it is to inspire. As you look back in decades of experience and might I add success in the industry, Troy, what would you say are maybe some of those top, if we just looked at the top qualities or characteristics of those who are successful in this industry? What would you say are some of those top characteristics, top qualities that you've noticed, maybe you've learned, right, and you've seen as you've walked with people, as you've consulted with people and coached with people? What are some of those top qualities and characteristics of the most consistently successful people in the insurance industry, the financial industry, from your perspective?
The ones that I admire, the ones that I believe are not just successful for money, because we can all make a lot of money. That doesn't mean you're totally successful, right? Success is money. That's one way to count it. Mm-hmm. Other ways are your lifestyle, your peace. You know, the last 6-7 years of my life have been devoted to having peace in my life. But I've noticed one thing that people don't talk about a lot. There's a lot of leadership skills. There's books written on it. Heck, I've written books on it. Mm-hmm. But it really is humility.
Wow.
And I love that. I love that saying. You're never as good as people say you are, and you're never as bad as people say you are. And it's living in that whole consciousness of being in the now and saying, I can be better. I've done good. This is great. I've won awards. I've helped a lot of people. People tell me that, right? And we all get that adulation when mm-hmm. we help people.
Yeah.
But I can do better. You know, God equipped me with a lot here, and I just need to use every resource that I've been given to be better. So in the first, one of the first articles that I wrote in the magazine, I wrote a couple, but most of them are written by others. But one of my articles, I want each of you to read it, and it's called Begin From Here. So I look at the past. I'm happy of the awards that we've won as a team. Happy about the things we've done to help people. We're people helpers, and we are. Mm-hmm. And we believe in a serve first mentality. We really do. But you know what? Begin from here. Let's use all that we've done right. Let's look at what we've done wrong and rewind the tapes, but don't dwell in it. Don't dwell in that. Use it as a learning experience. And then we begin from here for the way forward. To be something more than we are today. And I think if you look at every really great leader, I think that's the attitude. When I look at them, I go, that person's got it. And that's what I look for. And those are the people I want to listen to. They're the people I want to read about. And you're gonna see a lot of them in this magazine because I meet them. I meet the people that'll sell you anything. That's not what this is about. This is about serving people and being better in our business. That's what it's about.
I love that. I love that because it's not necessarily what someone would expect you would say. Humility. You're never as good as people say you are, and you're never as bad as people say you are. You know, speaking of experience and maybe even maturity and growth in leadership, I think that's something that you could speak to. Here's an interesting question, Troy. If you mentioned you started, if I'm not mistaken, at 21 years of age in this industry, and if you had the opportunity today, right? You know those hypothetical questions. If you could go right now to 21-year-old Troy, maybe even 22-year-old Troy, and you were able to spend an hour coffee with your younger self to give some advice for the journey that's ahead, what are a few pieces of advice that you would give? I'm curious to hear this.
One is to go out on a limb because, as the old saying goes, that's where all the fruit is. And I like that saying. I mean, there are no new antiques. You know, these things have been going on for thousands of years, right? So I want to go out on a limb. I don't want to be stupid. right? I want to be calculated. My manager, this guy right here, and there's Troy when he was a young man with his manager. My manager, one of the traits that he had was he allowed me to get bigger than him. Jay was awesome, and he wasn't afraid of me to outgrow him. And I think that's a good trait. I just, it's not that I would be risky. I just wouldn't be afraid. I think God has you, right? You make a mistake, and we all do. Sometimes we try to be real calculated and still make a mistake. So I don't want to be reckless,
Right.
but there's so much more out there. And as I fly around the United States, and I fly 4 to 5 days a week, and I meet people that are literally, they're kings and queens, and I meet people that are paupers, right? I mean, you just meet a lot of people that are on their way up, and I love that. I love to be around young people. I really do. That's what keeps me young. But I just think bigger, because if I think bigger, and I don't mean ridiculous, I just go, wow, it's like exercising. You just keep building yourself up, and you're building yourself up. My wife's turned into a runner. The other day, she ran 8 miles in a very short period of time. She says, my heart didn't even get to racing like it did a year ago or 6 months ago. 8 miles, okay? Well, you know what? Maybe she could run 30. Maybe she could run 50. I don't know. I just, there's no glass ceiling, Virgil. No glass ceiling on what we can do. Now, there is in some ways physically and
Sure.
whatnot, but man, I can always learn. I can learn something new. I can try something new. And I know it's a long answer, but I've thought about it a lot. I just wouldn't be afraid anymore. And that fear is one of the really limiting factors in life. And I've been afraid, like all people. Sometimes I thought I wasn't, but I was. So I would just be more intentional, and I would focus more on, am I afraid? Is that why I'm not trying to do more? And that would be the best advice I could give myself. Not money, not investments. The investment would be in me, just to be all that I could be from here, begin from here, and the way forward.
That's great perspective. That's great perspective.
Thank
I can't help but think there's wisdom in hearing others like yourself think about that question and yeah, go back and say, go out on a limb because that's where all the fruit is. And how many people live their whole life not going out on the limb, their whole life missing out maybe on opportunities because of fear,
you.
because of doubt, because of what will people think, because I haven't seen
Right,
anybody model it for me. I love that.
right,
I think, by the way, I think that's one of the benefits of being part of a community like Korsgaden Insights community. It's you're going to surround yourself with people that are on the same path of wanting to grow, of wanting to get better, of wanting to go farther maybe than we've ever gone before. Would you agree, Troy, that that's one of the benefits also of joining a community like this?
yeah. It's already taken off, and there's a lot of people I know in the profession. Um, might be some folks I was working with in Utah today. Could be some folks that I was working with in Bloomington yesterday in person. It could be somebody that's in Florida, like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we start to talk, and you ask good questions, by the way. That's why I always enjoy talking to you.
Thank you.
You're inquisitive, you ask good questions, and then when people do that in the community,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hey, if she can do that out in Montana, why couldn't I do that in a larger city in Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
or Little Rock, Arkansas? And so you just get all these people that go, wow, it's like Roger Bannister in the 4 minute mile. Nobody had done it before Roger Bannister, but once he broke the 4 minute mile, everybody started breaking the 4 minute mile, right? So that community has power. And then you'll see that people go, if we can do this, now let's take it to a whole new level.
What do you envision as you again? I believe this has probably been in your heart for some years. Maybe I mean maybe these ideas that now have come to birth. Course Got an Insights community, Course Got an Insights magazine. As you kind of look to the future, and this is the beginning of that chapter, but as you look to the future, what do you envision as Korsgaden Insights kind of grows, as the community grows, as the membership of the community grows, as the reach of the magazine kind of expands out even further? What do you envision for the future?
So I mentioned Michelle Hubert, and she created a program for us that's outside the community, but that's how the community was born, was that we found that there's a certain percentage of people that literally will drop everything and they'll just focus on their business. So there's a certain percentage of people that want training. There's a certain percentage of people that want the community, and it's a large percentage. Then there's a smaller percentage that go, hey, I want higher learning. They want even deeper learnings. That's going to be available to folks that are already in the community. And so one of the things we've done is we've set up a scholarship for anybody that wants to spend a day. If they're in the community, they're eligible for a scholarship for an all-day training. And then if they want to take it from there, there's coaching available. But we assume that probably 90% of the folks in the community are top-tier people that want to focus on their business, focus on their teams, and then they want that interaction and they want a plethora of things that they can use, because business isn't just one thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of little things that all add up into greatness. So the community at the core, again, 80, 90%, I'm going to say 90%, and then 10% are going to take it to a whole new level, which we've already started to create, we've already started to execute, but our focus is on the community, because it truly is the folks in the trench that are serving people locally. Those are the people we want to serve.
I love that. I think, I think it's always fun. It's, I remember in the middle of 2020 and the craziness that we lived, I remember a documentary came out it's called The Last Dance, about the Chicago Bulls, and it was like 20 years after. Loved that, right?
Love it.
And I just sometimes sit and I sit and think, what's the video gonna look? What's the documentary gonna look like 20 years from today? And even with Korsgaden Insights, what's the documentary gonna look like when years, maybe 2 decades down the road, looking back and saying, Troy had some courage. He went on a limb. He did some things that not a lot of people were doing. He had the courage to say, hey, let's do it. Hey, we're gonna take a risk. We're not gonna be reckless. We're gonna take a risk and do something that can help a lot of people, and then just hear the stories, hear the fruit, so to speak, that comes from going out on that limb. I imagine that excites you, Troy.
So I tell you what, it's like we talked before we got on here. Let me give you, and I hope people will say this about me. I hope they'll say it about my team 20 years from now. But let me tell you what I got out of The Last Dance, because I watched it with my son.
Uh-huh.
We'd both been to see Michael Jordan in person. He was a little kid, and I took him to see Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, all in the big house in Chicago. It was amazing. But here's what I got out of that series, because it was a long series, right?
Yeah.
You watched it as I did. There's 3 things that Michael Jordan did, and I hope this could be said about us. Number 1, he planned hard. He didn't just show up. He really thought about the game, and he was very intentional and intense. He gave it his all. So when he planned, he gave it his all. And then he went into practice, and that's what we would call strategy.
Uh-huh.
And he gave that his all. He didn't go to practice and just go around making millions of dollars, and he just kind of threw up some shots.
Mm-hmm.
He gave it his all to a degree. If you watch that show, some of his teammates were like, dude, settle down, man. He was super intentional, super intense. He gave it his all. The third thing, Virgil, that he did, he played hard, and he gave it his all. So when he got his game suit on, he played every game, from the first game in the season to the middle game to the championships, and he gave it his all. And that's why he won so many championships, because he gave it his all. And it wasn't the money, it wasn't the adulation. He really, truly believed in what he was doing, And I hope when they look back on me, I hope when they look back on my team, I hope when they look back on you, that people will say, he gave it his all.
Come on. That's it. That's it right there. He gave it his all. He was intense. He was intentional. He worked, he played hard, worked hard, practiced hard. I love that. That's why I love talking to you, Troy, because you inspire me, you encourage me. I want to go play some basketball now. All of a sudden. How about we direct people? How can people find out about Korsgaden Insights community and the magazine? Where can they go? Because right now I think people are like ready to write it down. They're ready to go online and check it out.
Yeah, you get a free trial, so there's no reason not to do it. You get a free trial, you get the magazine, you get a book called Net Gain Growth. It's a lot of scripts and things. If you're in the insurance profession, it's what everybody always asks for. Can I get that script? Can I get that language that you talked about? So you can do it two ways. We've got a QR code, but if you don't want to do the QR code, just go to www.korsgadeninsights, all one word.com. That's www.korsgaden.com. And again, it's just a free trial. Get you in there. You get a look into that portal that was created by Four Rivers, and my team collaborated on getting you in there. You get a look at the workbook, you get a look at all the videos, you get a look at all the other little videos, we call them micro videos, that come with it, and those webinars, and it just gives you 30 days to go, hey man, this is for me. This is literally a couple of cups of coffee every month, not every week, every month. It's like $30, and it's just not that expensive for all the collateral you get, like I was talking about, the video and workbook. Heck, when people buy that, they pay $1,800 for it. So give it a try. If it's for you, I mean, I think it will be great. And if it's not for you, that's okay too. But give it a shout. See what you think.
You heard it, everybody. It's korsgadeninsights.com. www.korsgadeninsights.com. Korsgaden is Korsgaden Insights.com. Hey, who can beat a free trial? Do a free trial. We're confident you're going to love it. You're going to lean in. You're going to want to share it with somebody because it really is something that's going to add value to your leadership, add value to your business, to your knowledge, to your growth. Plus, it really is a feel of community. Have you had any friends or any recent members reach out, Troy, and just say, man, I just got connected and I'm loving it. Have you gotten any feedback from some of the people that maybe have recently leaned into the community?
Yeah, and for you that are professionals in the insurance business, if you really want to talk to somebody that's not in our organization that we've worked with, they'll tell you that the community is that one place. And they would call me and they would do 15 minutes with me or 20 minutes, and they just said, okay, what's next, boss? We can get those folks for you, because it really is. It's in life today, it's moving so fast. You want things to be easy, but you also want it to be impactful. You want it to be meaningful, and that's really what that portal and the community is all about. It's just about that.
Yeah, so I want to just highlight everybody as we hit the final stretch here. I want to highlight a few things. First of all, what a privilege it is for us here at AVAIL to be able to highlight Korsgaden Insights community, a new community targeted for all those leaders, especially in the area of insurance and financial world, and those of you who just want to grow in your leadership and know more about this. Korsgaden Insights community is the community you want to lean into. Hey, it's a free trial, like Troy said himself. Check it out, try it out. Kick the tires, if you will. Also, the Korsgaden Insights magazine. We're talking about a journal that looks good, feels good, speaks right, and is going to help you. It's going to add value to you in your leadership in this world. It's going to help you. You're going to want to check that out. All of that is connected to the community. Troy, as we kind of wrap things up, can you share with us two things? Anything else you want to just mention about this community and why you highly encourage it and want people to jump in? And then B, what's one final thought you want to leave us with?
Well, look, my wish for everybody listening, whether you're in the insurance profession or not, may you achieve all the success that you pursue in your life. I really believe we're all designed to be great at whatever we're doing. But more importantly, for everybody listening, flourish with purpose. You know, find that thing that gives you the fire in the belly. And then the community really is like-minded people. My mom always told me, the people that were my mentors always told me, you really are the people that you surround yourself with. And I surround myself with like-minded people, people that really serve God, serve others, and then everything else flows from there. So give us a shot. I'd love to talk to you personally. My personal email is troy@korsgaden.com, troy@korsgaden.com. And once we email each other, I'll give you my private cell number. And I love to text because I fly a lot. And would love to get to know you and to know more about you, your business, your family. And Virgil, it's just been great being on with you here today, really.
We appreciate that, Troy. We take our hat off. You're one of those that have been a second-time guest on AVAIL, so please know that's a major highlight for us because we respect you, we value you, we see the leadership and the heart that you have to help leaders and help people. Troy, on behalf of Dr. Sam Chand, on behalf of Martijn van Tilborg, the AVAIL family here, of course, Four Rivers Media team, we just want to say we're proud of you, we honor you, we can't wait to see everything God has in store through Korsgaden Insights community.
Thank you, Virgil.
Yes, sir. Hey, everybody. I hope you've been encouraged by this conversation. And let me just say, the website you want to go to, it is www.korsgadeninsights.com. Find out more about this community, how you can try it for free. Check out, get one of the magazines in your hands. You're not going to be disappointed because Troy and his team are putting together some gold, especially if you're in this industry. Thanks for connecting here on AVAIL, where we talk about the art of leadership, whether you're in ministry, whether you're in the marketplace, whether you're in both, whether you have a heart to make a difference wherever you are. You're always going to learn and grow with us here on AVAIL. My name is Virgil Sierra, lead pastor of Vertical Church, your host here at the AVAIL podcast, where we love to help you grow, learn, get equipped, and be motivated to keep moving forward. Catch you next time right here on the AVAIL podcast. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the AVAIL podcast with our guest, Troy Korsgaden. You can find out more about Troy and Korsgaden Insights by going to korsgadeninsights.com. For more leadership resources, check us out at theartofleadership.com. Make sure to claim your free trial subscription of the AVAIL Journal at availjournal.com. As always, I'm your AVAIL podcast host, Virgil Sierra. Muchas gracias. Thank you for connecting with us to learn the art of leadership here at the AVAIL podcast.